here it is in all its glory. And it has something that I haven't really seen on any other chess computers, and I've been playing quite a few of those. It has an on switch that's a real toggle switch, and the way you set the level is you have a real, look at that, real sliding switch that goes from level 1 to level 8. So I'm so excited to play this, and I want you to sit back, lie down, relax. This is your time, this is for you. Just drift off and have a good, relaxing ASMR time. And let's see, maybe I can beat this before you fall asleep, or maybe you will fall asleep first. Who knows? We find the pieces in this compartment here, in here, so we can open that and take out the pieces. Okay, here, let's close this up again. Set up the pieces, and I just noticed something interesting about this, and there's actually quite a few things about this particular machine that are interesting. So one of the things is that this machine is programmed by a guy called Mark Taylor and another guy that you may have heard of, David Levy. Now, David Levy is an absolute giant in computer chess history. A very colorful figure. He was the one that made the bet. He was a pretty strong chess player himself, a master, I believe, or even an international master. And he made a bet that no chess computer would be able to beat him for 10 years. And that was seen as a great challenge in the chess programming community. And he also he was the one that started what now is the TCEC, like the Chess Computer Championships. He was the one that made all of that happen. He has been on so many committees, like when Kasparov played Deep Junior, not Deep Blue, but Deep Junior in 2003, for instance. David Levy was in the committee that figured out, okay, how are we going to, what arbiters are we going to have, how are we going to, what rules are the players, the human and the machine, going to play under in all of this. He has just been involved in chess computers forever, and he programmed this one that came out in 1982. That is a long time ago, more than 40 years. I have the original owner's manual of the Chess Partner 3000 from Sizes. It doesn't give too much technical information, but I was able to dig up the specifications of this. That's the other interesting thing. This machine runs on an Hitachi CPU, Hitachi HD 44801. That is a CPU that runs at 0.4 megahertz, or what you could also just say 400,000 hertz. I believe that's how that translates. So it's less than a half of a megahertz. And of course today anything that's like your phone will have gigahertz. The hardware in this machine is just unbelievably weak. It's pretty mind-blowing how weak it really is. Okay, here we are ready to play the machine. We are at level 8. Let's turn it on. Like so. I love that little toggle switch there. That is amazing. Okay, it's so satisfying. I'm actually going to turn it off. That is, yeah, something beautiful about that. And we will press enter. So the machine will make the first move. We will be playing with the black pieces. And the machine starts with e2 to e4, to which we will respond with the Sicilian defense. And this is how we interface with the machine. So here it has the little screen where it says the move. When I input the move, I can't press, like these are not touch sensitive at all. This whole board here is just for the user's reference. It doesn't interface with the machine at all. Instead, I will interface using this small keyboard over here, and I will say pawn on c7 to c5, and then I will enter that move, the Sicilian defense. And it's very curious what this machine will come up with. It plays bishop to c4, very non-standard move. I would expect knight f3, but probably the machine doesn't have an opening book, given that it only has, let me check, it only has 2K of ROM. That means that's the read-only memory. So that's the entire program is in about 2,000 characters. So you'll have to write everything for how you interface, to what value each piece has, to all the rules of chess, all of that in 2,000 characters of code. So yeah, they didn't have space to also input a lot of opening theory. So against bishop to c4, I think a move like pawn to e6 with the idea of going pawn to d5 could be pretty good. So I will input e7 to e6. I will enter that. And we are trying basically to take advantage of this suboptimal opening move. Okay, it plays pawn to d4. We are going to snap that up immediately. It's going into sort of an open Sicilian. Say c5 takes d4. But you would normally have the knight on f3 to recapture on d4. Now it will have to recapture with the queen. That is, of course, not... Oh, wow. Look at how it writes that. Turn this around. It actually has a special sign, X for takes. That's how you write in real algebraic notation, how you write takes. So it's d1 takes d4. That's very cool. I really like this machine. I suspect it's not going to be the biggest challenge ever to beat it, but let's see, you know. Can always be surprised, always be surprised. So it plays queen takes. Against that move, we are of course going to play knight to c6, saying, hello, queen. Oh, hello, knight. Have you not watched, have you not watched the Smart Chess videos on YouTube? Don't you know you are not supposed to bring out queen so early? No, you see, my dear knight, you see, I have not watched ASMR chess on YouTube, because I have not been switched on since 1982, and there was no YouTube and no ASMR chess back in 1982. Okay, I can understand and respect that. So we will play knight from b8 to c6 and enter that move. And let's see what it comes up with. It will have to move the queen. I suspect it will move the queen back to d1. It plays queen to c3 instead. I think that is a horrible move that allows us to win the game basically on the spot, because bishop on f6 can go to b4, and that is protected by the knight. And now the queen is pinned to the king, and we will win the queen for the bishop. So we play f8 to b4, and we enter that move. And now we have a winning position, a huge advantage after only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves by white. c4 takes e6. What is this machine doing? c4 takes e6. Why? This is amazing. I'm just thinking that maybe it's playing on level 1. I think we will have to play it again after this, because this is bizarre even for a computer like this. I played the Chess Challenger from 1979. Predates this by 3 years, and it played at a respectable level, where this is just playing completely random moves. We will of course after this move just capture the queen. b4 takes c3, and that's check. Now I would say of course it would play knight takes on c3. Okay, it does, but yeah, let's see how quickly we can win this, and then we will play it again. We will now play... I'm actually thinking I will capture with the d pawn. d7 takes e6, because the queen is opened up, and I'm trying to go for a very quick checkmate here. c1 to f4. The other bishop gets out. I guess we will play knight f6. Knight from g8 to f6. Going to enter that move. And I guess we will see a move like rook d1 maybe. Or knight f3, g1 to f3, it plays knight f3. Let's just castle. So we will write that as e8 to g8. And now we are presented with the challenge of finding a quick way to end this game. e1 to g1, it castles as well, and maybe that will make our life a little easier. Let's see how we can... I'm thinking I actually want to give up this pawn, so I can quickly sort of make a mating combination with the queen and the knight. So let's just play e6 to e5, like so. And yeah, was so bizarre how it played bishop takes e6 there. f3 takes e5. Yes, it plays knight takes on e5. And my idea was that we would recapture that with our own knight. So we say c6 takes e5. It will then recapture with the bishop. We will play knight to g4, attacking the bishop. Here, knight from f6 to g4. Enter that move. And if we are a little lucky, the bishop will move f2 to f. Okay, wow. So it protects like that. And I was going to say, if we are a little lucky, we will have the bishop move away from the defense of h2, but this also moves away from the defense of h2. So now we can play queen h4. That is d8 to h4. Enter that, threatening checkmate on h2. I guess the machine will be able to find h3, basically the only move. And I think knight e3 wins rather easily here. So we will play knight from g4 to e3, like so. It attacks the rook, it attacks the pawn on c2. I suspect we will see rook f2. Yes, we do see rook f2. And then I was thinking bishop takes h3, g takes h3, queen g3, check, king h1, and then queen takes f2, so that should be pretty good. So bishop on c8 takes h3. We enter that move, and we should pretty quickly win this game. It captures like so. We then play the check. You are not able to put the rook in between because we can capture backed up by the knight. So therefore we will play h4 to g3, and that is check. Then king h1, king h1, and I'm thinking about, I think the quickest is to capture the rook and then give a check on f1 instead of capturing the pawn. Check rook h2, then check on f3, because then king g1, and then I'm not getting anywhere, so you just capture the rook. g3 takes f2, enter that move. Now threatening checkmate on g2, so rook g1, a1 to c1. What? That doesn't even stop checkmate in one. I was going to say that rook g1 is the only move. Check here, and then I don't have like an immediate knockout blow, but it plays completely mysterious rook c1, allowing f2 to g2, which is checkmate. And it's computing, and now it says, okay, I lose. You can see here, it actually had to think for a couple of seconds to figure out that that position was checkmate. I don't know if you can tell, it says I lose down here. Woo, that looks kind of cool. And it says I lose here. Okay, I think we should do one more game. I'll just reset, turn this off. I'll be sure that this is in the Maybe I had put it in a way that it bugged out and it was playing at level 1 maybe. Okay, set up the pieces again. Okay, let's do game 2, which allows me to do this thing that I really like. It's off right now. And it's on. It's just so satisfying with this little toggle switch. I'm actually going to turn it off and then turn it on. That click is amazing. You can sort of hot switch during the game the difficulty level we're going to. Put it in position 8. And it starts as 1, it doesn't start at 0, so position 7 is difficulty level 8. And I'm going to press enter so that it will play as white and we will play as black. It plays E2 to E4. And I'm curious as to see if it will play the same. So I'm going to play C7 to C5, the Sicilian. Again, so we play C7, C5, and then we enter. And it's very interesting. Is it a deterministic system? Is it non-deterministic? It plays the Smith-Morra gambit. That is amazing. I am pretty sure that it's not going to play pawn to c3 after we capture, but if you are interested in this particular opening here, the Smith-Morra gambit, I have a video where I show you the key ideas on how to play this opening. So we need to take that. So we will play c5 takes d4. And I think it will play queen takes, which is not a good move. The good move here is pawn to c3. Yes, it plays d1 takes d4, that is queen takes d4. And the reason that is not a good move is that it develops the queen very, very early. So we can play knight to c6, say hello queen, oh no, and attack the queen. So we will play knight from b8 to c6, attacking the queen. We can see that this machine doesn't have so much chess knowledge. Usually you will be able to program in a lot of heuristics that will say, okay, everything else equal, do not move the queen out too early, like unless you have a very specific reason. Put the knights out before the bishop to control the center, like small, even back, probably maybe not in 82, but very early chess intelligence had heuristics like that, and this one does not seem to have anything like that. So David Levy, who programmed this with Mark Taylor, it may have been like a quick job for them, or maybe it was just not possible to, because they were not able to get more memory to write the program in. So it plays d4 to d5, that's queen d5, allowing us to, I guess this could be a how to beat beginners video, because we'll just exploit these positional mistakes. And we'll play knight to f6, again saying hello queen, attacking the queen. Again, the queen will have to move, and we keep developing pieces, developing our strategy, getting everybody into position, and this queen is just running around all over the board, and all white's pieces here are really not doing anything. So knight from g8 to f6, we enter that. Now you have to move the queen again. Where will you go? Even though this machine is not very strong, it's not a particularly good chess computer. I just love how retro it is. I love the toggle switch and the sliding switch. I also kind of love the instructive part of playing against it, because we can see how big of an advantage we can get just from the computer not understanding that you shouldn't move the queen out too early. Now it goes to f5, and of course we can play now d6 or d5, because that opens up an attack on the queen. And I think pawn to d5 is very good, because now we are also attacking this pawn. So we can come in attacking it twice with the knight and the pawn. So I think we will play d7, d5, pawn to d5. And of course the pawn is protected by the knight as well as the queen. If it was only protected by the queen, it wouldn't work, because queen takes pawn would be good for white. f5 to f3. Queen goes back, and it's getting a little comical now, because we can keep making moves that improve our position while attacking the queen. Now we can of course play pawn takes e5, because it's protected by the knight. You see the power of these two knights controlling all these 4 center squares between them. Huge advantage. We could also consider playing bishop here, but I like. Let's just look at that just one more time. If the queen moves somewhere, no, I'm thinking that we'll be attacking d1 and some queen d1 checkmate can come, but I think d takes e4 just feels so good, and we are opening up this, so we still can reserve the right to play bishop to g4, and now we also attack f3, so if they play f2, f3, we can capture that. And so we will play d5 takes e4, attacking the queen again. And this is not how to play the Smith-Morrow. If you want to know how to play the Smith-Morrow, of course, go watch my video on that opening. It's a very good way to play against the Sicilian. Okay, f3 to e3, that's queen e3. And did I mention that I want to thank the patrons for helping me buy these things? If I didn't, patreon.com/asmrchess is a place where you can also support the channel if you want to, and I have some awesome people already doing that, and that helps me make these videos because it allows me to buy these machines here. Okay, what do we want to do now? We have this. We have a pawn. This is the material. Can you see that? We have won 2 pawns and only lost 1, so we are ahead 1 pawn, and of course we have a very superior development. I think a move just pawn to e5 looks quite good, opening up this bishop, so we can go to c5, potentially to distract the queen if we need to. We could go to b4 with a check if that would be beneficial. We could threaten checkmate with bishop to g4. Queen d1 would be checkmate. Let's see, they will probably play pawn to f3, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn. I'm not sure we are getting that much there. f3, pawn takes pawn, maybe pawn takes pawn back, and we have to move the bishop again. That's not really what we want. So I think pawn from e7 to e5. And I actually, like, usually we have these touch, if it like so completely like a keyboard, so every square is a button. And I actually almost prefer this this way of interfacing with the machine. b1 to c3, so it plays knight c3. Okay, so what do we want to be doing against this? How about a move such as bishop b4? How about a move such as bishop g4? Bishop g4, f3, e takes, g takes. It's pretty good, but maybe not maybe not crushing immediately. I'm guessing bishop b4, because we're not getting, like, we could distract the queen, bishop c5, queen takes, but we're not getting anything from that. So I think bishop b4, and then we can castle. So let's say f8 to b4, no, to clear, f8 b4, like so. And it also prevents, not that I was really afraid of that, but it prevents knight takes on e4, which was attacked by the knight and the queen and only defended by the knight. f1 to c4. So it plays bishop c4, bishop c4, bishop c4. Okay, okay. Do we have some tactics? Not sure. Maybe we should castle. Maybe we should consider again playing bishop g4, f3, g takes, f3, e takes, g takes. It doesn't look like it's doing that much, so maybe we just castle. So that would be king from e8 to g8, like so. And this position is very, 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 very good now. We haven't done anything special. I haven't calculated almost a single line. a2 to a4. That doesn't do much. It's not a particularly strong move at all from the computer. We haven't, like, I've just, you know, followed the principles. So I think I will play bishop g4 now. Like, look at the symmetry, the knights, the bishops. If we had this setup, it would be like a picture of, you know, ideal setup or something like that from like a beginner's book. Let's play bishop from c8 to g4, threatening checkmate. Yeah, it plays f2 to f3, blocks the checkmate like that. I'm thinking that just pawn takes pawn should be quite good. We get rid of the doubled pawns, and now if they play take here, we have a diagonal towards the king. So let's play e4, f3, e takes f3. I'm thinking it will recapture with the pawn. It could recapture with the knight, which I think is a superior move, but I think that the machine will like the fact that it will attack my bishop. So it did play this, g takes f3. And will there be some, do we have some clever things that we could do here? Thinking if we could get this knight away with tempo, maybe some queen h4 check would be really good, but it doesn't really seem like it. We could play bishop h5, maintaining this pressure here on f3. We could play bishop f5, looking at g2. Machine would probably play bishop b3. I think bishop h5 is quite good. So let's play g4, f5, like so. And now the machine has like a second to breathe here. So what kind of plan will it come up with? I am guessing that it will not come up with a plan and play a move like this pawn move here that didn't do anything. It plays bishop back from c4 to d3. Should I maybe capture this knight now? Double the pawns. Bishop takes c3. Should I play e5, give up this pawn? Or I could play queen a5, threatening bishop takes, knight check, b takes, c3 check, queen takes, c3 check. Then something like bishop d2. but that doesn't work because I could capture the rook, so that would be a pretty serious threat in a way, and it allows me to get some rook to d8. So let's just play queen a5 here. So that is d8 to a5, like so. We are now threatening. Bishop takes knight, b takes c3, queen takes c3, check, and picking up the rook. d3 takes f5. There isn't anything on f5. I've been playing like you don't know this, because it has been, we have cut it out. I have cut it out of the video. But this is the third game where the machine plays an impossible move. It thinks that there is something on f5. There isn't, but we can figure out what it thinks the position is. So we can say find position. It says that there is a pawn on b2, and I will press pawn again. There's also one on c2, on h2, on f3. All of this is correct. And on a4, all of this is correct. And then no more pawns for white. Then we'll look at knights. There's one on g1, it says, yes. On c3, yes. No more knights. Bishop on c1, yes. Bishop on f5. It says there is a black bishop on f5. When I played bishop h5, did I input f5 by accident? I think maybe I did, but it just seems like I've played like for hours now, and I am pretty fallible, and I'll probably have messed up one time, two times with inputting the moves, but it seems like that's all I'm doing now. But okay, I guess we still have a strong position. No, it doesn't. No, of course, it's not saying that. It's not saying that I necessarily have a bishop on f5. It's saying that it has a bishop on f5 because it thinks it just captured something on f5. So let's continue with the rooks. Rook on a1, yes. Rook on h1, yes. No more rooks. The queen is on e3 and the king is on e1. Okay, and now let's go to black and let's look at pawns. So there is one on e5, yes. a7, b7, f7, g7 and h7, yes. No more pawns. Okay, knights. There is a knight on c6, yes. f6, yes. No more knights. Bishop on b4, yes. And no more bishops. So maybe I did input this wrong. Rook on a8, rook on f8, no more rooks. Queen on a5, no more queens. King on g8. Okay, so this is the position. So here I will now have to play knight to d5, attacking this. Here bishop takes doesn't work because after the bishop went to f5, the queen is now protecting, but let's attack it like this. So we play f6 to d5, f6, d5, enter. So we attack the queen and we attack the knight. And even though I may have input the wrong move, I think we actually still have a winning position here. Queen d3 is what it plays. So we will play knight takes c3. So that is d5 takes c3, like so. And let's see if it will play b takes c3. It does, meaning that we can now play bishop takes c3. That is b4, c3. That is check. So we are winning the rook here in the corner. We should be quite happy. c1 to d2. Oh, we're not winning the rook because this move, of course, pins the queen to the bishop to our queen. So now I suspect we are in some kind of trouble, actually. Actually think we are in some kind of trouble, but probably nothing we can't fix. Maybe we have a clever move like knight b4, attacking the queen, and if the queen moves, we can then capture. The problem, of course, is queen takes c3. Queen takes c3, knight takes c2, check, king moves, queen takes, queen, bishop takes, queen, knight takes a1, knight b4, queen takes c3, knight takes c2, check, king d1, queen takes queen, bishop takes queen, knight takes rook, bishop takes rook. That's actually just giving up 2 pieces for the exchange, which is not good at all. So I guess we have to play bishop takes bishop, maybe. Bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop, and maybe then knight b4. It's a little tough, but knight b4 I think is pretty good. So we play bishop takes bishop on d2. So that is c3 takes on d2. We enter that, and this sort of Botez gambit we did here, d3 takes d2, yeah, so it will capture here. And here I was thinking that knight c6. So this sort of Botez gambit we did, maybe either because the machine is faulty and doesn't work, or because I input the move in the wrong way. It makes the game more interesting because now I'm down a piece, and let's see if I can get through those odds. So we will play bishop, knight b4 here, threatening, for instance, knight takes on c2, also getting ready to get a rook to d8. So this could potentially be quite nice. Oh, I missed this bishop here, and f5 is actually protecting c2. I still kind of like knight b4, so let's play c6 to b4. Like so. If we can get the bishop away, we will be quite happy. c2 to c3, it attacks our knight, which is not a problem really. Like we can just move it, and perhaps we can even move it to d5, which I think is pretty good. Let's say knight d5, pawn to c4. Is that a problem? Pawn to c4, then maybe knight c3. I kind of like this. So we will play b4 to d5. I guess the machine will have to play pawn to c4, and then we'll play knight to c3. And we just want to activate our rooks. That is really all we want. And it could also play a move like rook c1. It does play c4, so we play knight to c3. That is d5 to c3, enter. I just discovered the big problem with this move. h2 to h4. This is actually a very bad move because rook c1 would have probably just won the knight, and fortunately it didn't find that plan. It's like in all the other games I played where the machine either had inputted it the wrong way or the machine messed up. Either way, every time it happened, I got so confused by having to reinvent the position in my head that I started playing terribly like this. I could even feel intuitively that I was doing something wrong, but with this knight maneuver, but I was so out of touch that I did it anyway. We got a chance to now play rook on a to d8. I think rook a to d8 is pretty good. We could also consider using the other rook f8. Rook f8 to d8. That looks better, so I think I will do that. Rook f8 to d8. But maybe at some point I will want this rook on e8 opposite this king here. So I will actually use the rook on a8 to d8. So a8, d8. And we enter that. What will we get here? We get d2 to c2. This attacks h7, but it also allows me to have discovered checks. So I could, for instance, go knight e5 check, knight e4 check, I mean. check from the queen, and the king would go somewhere, and if I really want to, I can play knight back to f6 to defend h7. It's sort of elegant, but maybe we can even do better, because a move like knight e4 check actually forces king f1, because if king e2, then rook d2 check picks up the queen. In any case, I think, and if king f1, then knight g3 picks up this rook. So I may again be completely missing something, but knight from c3 to e4 check should be quite good here. King, it's take, okay, okay, it goes to e2, where we win with rook d2 check. So that is d8 to d2 check, like so. It will probably play c2 takes d2, that is queen takes rook, and then we can respond with rook, queen takes queen, so that is queen on a5 takes on d2, a5, d2, and the nice thing here is that it's backed up by this knight here. So now it goes to f1. I think we're pretty close to checkmate. I think it's actually just checkmate, knight g3, and that is checkmate. So we managed to win the game after all. So that is e4 to g3 checkmate. It's computing for a little while here, and then it says I lose. That's the game I have for you today, and thank you very much for watching, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.